Colleen. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you.
Good.
Thank you for
Good.
having me.
You're welcome. And how is your new job as the mayor of Denver going?
It's going well.
Yeah. Thank you for cleaning up crime and all of the other problems that
No
Denver
problem.
has. Yeah. So this is fun. Usually, when I'm doing these things, I'll interview people I've known from other places or people that work at churches. And you're not like a professional minister, as far as I know.
Oh no, not at all. This is all brand new to me. Yes.
What do you do for a living? What is your vocation?
I'm a paralegal. I actually work for a family law attorney.
Oh, that's awesome. I
Yeah.
always ask you that, and you always tell me, and then I always forget until the next time I ask. And I'm always like, wow, that's really cool. So that's what happens when you're 61 years old, like I
Oh
am.
yes. Blame it on the age.
Yeah, it's been very convenient so far. Age or allergies. Those are the two
Right.
things that I'm living with.
Right.
So, all right. So you've been coming to our church for how long? 6 months? A year?
About 6 months. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what drew you to, how did you end up walking through gracing the doors of our church with yourself?
Well, I knew I wanted to find Jesus because I needed some help and assistance in what I was going through. And I actually had met a gentleman, Carl, who introduced me to the church and kind of gave me some insight on what kind of church it is. And
Mhm.
he asked me to join him. So I said yes, and here we are.
Yeah. Yeah, you were like instantly just it felt like you just were in. I
Yeah.
don't know. I don't know if everywhere you go you're just like instantly make a splash and you're just seem to fit, but that's certainly how it's felt. How it's
That's
felt.
how it's felt for me as well. Yes.
Okay, that's cool. And you said you're going through some hard times, and that something that you're comfortable with?
Well, I was in an abusive relationship for 7 years, and I finally got the strength to get out. And I got divorced a month ago. It was finalized. And so now I'm just on the path of finding myself and a new journey of who I am to become.
So a big chunk of your life not going the way you'd hoped it would go, and then having to figure out how to survive, I guess, and then how to move on and thrive. So you
Yes,
you came to the
yes.
church in the middle of trying to figure out how to get yourself out of a really bad situation.
I did, yes. I left him in August, and I think it was just a couple months after that that I needed to find something that had some guidance, and that was healthy as well. I
Hmm.
do go to a therapist who's a pastor of 50 years. He
Oh,
also kind of guided me towards it. And I
hmm.
just knew it would be a positive outcome for me and a positive thing to have in my life.
Tell us a little bit about your background. Where are you from? What was your family of origin like?
Yeah, so
Which
I'm
which
actually,
which sports teams are you typically rooting
I think we all know what sports team I like.
for?
I'm a Colorado native, born and raised up in Steamboat. Moved down here to get away from the wicked weather. And my family actually ended up following me down here.
Oh, hmm.
And then my father got lung cancer. So I
No.
moved back, I moved into their home in Longmont to help him through chemo. And I have since never left Longmont. I fell in love with it,
Okay.
specifically the trees. I love how many trees there are. It's beautiful. It has a sense of community and it's
Yeah.
green.
Yeah,
So,
that's true.
yeah,
Longmont is like its own little town. It's not a suburb. It's like
right.
separated from everything else. Yeah. In some
Yes.
ways it feels small, and in other ways it's actually it's bigger than Steamboat Springs, or it's certainly bigger than where we moved from, which was Canyon City, about 15,000 people. So
Right. Yes. Yeah. Steamboat, I
okay.
think, had about 7,000 on the
Yeah.
off season. So,
The theme for this week, we're spending 2 weeks talking about how Jesus delivers us or frees us from stuff. Last week we talked about deliverance from addiction. It's not just them that are addicted, but and it's not just God who helps, but it's freeing us from from demonic attachments. Kind of a controversial topic um, that I'm always hesitant to talk about it because then people, they don't say it necessarily, but in their head they're thinking, oh, I'm talking to a crazy person right now. And yet when people come and get prayer, they don't seem to struggle with the idea that the stuff they're dealing with might be outside of themselves. And then this week we're talking about also about deliverance, but specifically from emotional stuff. Now you've come from I'm sure it's just traumatic. And a lot of people have been through abusive situations. And so, in a sense, you're speaking to or speaking on behalf of people that have dealt with being betrayed or mistreated by another human being that you're entrusting yourself to. And I'm not sure what could be more traumatic than that. But I'm going to start by asking you the same questions that we're talking to the person on the street about. And so the first one have to do with whether we should let emotions take the forefront in our lives or whether we should like be in charge of our emotions. The quote I've been giving is that I'll have you comment on is emotions make better slaves than masters. And would you agree with that or disagree with that?
I agree with that. I think you should definitely feel emotion. However, I don't think you should let emotion overtake who you are as a person,
Mm-hmm.
because it can change you and it can make you do things you shouldn't necessarily do.
Mm-hmm.
But
Like
I think,
emotions carry us away to places that we don't want to go. Um, I think you've told me before you've struggled you've had you've dealt with addiction like a lot of people have.
mhm.
Um, and just so everyone knows, you gave me permission to talk
Yes,
about anything. So
anything.
if people are watching, saying, "Man, why is he bringing this stuff up?" It's because your journey is quite powerful and you're willing to talk about it. But
Well, addiction can, it lowers your inability to control yourself, which allows your emotions to come through 10 times more. And
hmm
typically it's going to be a negative emotion because of what you're feeling inside due to that addiction. Because addiction typically doesn't create positive emotions, it creates negative emotions.
yeah, but if you're going through a hard time, you're angry, you're hurt, you're lonely, you're afraid. For you, uh, addictive substances just makes it worse.
Yeah, definitely. It's a way of numbing. I especially through what I've gone through recently, um, I,
hmm
I definitely self-medicated
hmm
with alcohol and